All right. So, look, man, y'all know, like, I hear I'm gonna keep it honest with y'all, man. Some of the other people, like JD PicKell, I think is becoming, if not has already become, is clickbaity. Not clickbaity, not as like it's always kinda. It's clickbait because it's bait and it's gator bait because where the hell are the Florida Gators, first of all? But this is clickbait. I'm gonna explain why. This is fire clickbait. So JD PicKell dropped his college football playoff projecting 12-team Philly. He says straight season this year. So here we go. I'm gonna tell you my exact problems with this thing because it is horrendous. First, the one seed LSU. LSU will not be the number one ranked team in this playoff. I can almost guarantee that. Um, if LSU is gonna make a run, it's gonna have to be an Ohio State to me. They remind me a lot of Ohio State last year. Like talented. No, they're a lot different because the Ohio State team was also together for a long time though. Like this is more of like I honestly let me not even say that because I didn't mean saying like, oh, you didn't win the national. Oh, hell no, LSU ain't winning on that championship. I can almost guarantee it. Brian Kelly ain't no big game coach. He ain't winning 11-1. He had LSU 11-1. LSU ain't going 11-1. They're not going to be the ones. And he had to be in Texas in the SEC championship. That ain't happening. So that's completely wrong. For them to be the number one team in like preseason, like no, you haven't even seen the offensive line because Will Campbell, and Emory Jones are gone. Garrett Nussmeier still has to show that he can be a big game quarterback, and that. Oh, my bad, Garrett Missmeyer. Garrett Missmeyer has to show he can change his name from Missmeyer to back to Nussmeier because I call him Missmeyer because all he does is miss guys all the time. So Garrett Missmeyer has to show he can show up in big games consistently and make the plays that need to be made and not throw picks and cause turnovers and have punt and all that kind of stuff. Somebody really needs to evolve his game another step and take it to another level. Has he shown that? He needs to show it. Brian Kelly is not a big game coach. I don't believe in him. Like I said, Emory Jones with Campbell are gone. Plus Garrett Dellinger. I want to see what this was the best practicing off the line in the SEC pretty much. If them in Texas, all those guys are gone. They're gonna take a drop. I'm just telling you they're gonna drop off on the offensive line. I don't believe what they have on the offensive line outside of what the guy they got from Virginia Tech, the center, and then I like Josh Townsend from Northwestern. I mean, we'll see about him, but I don't believe what they. I mean, but I got center. They have another center, DJ Chester. We'll see. I don't believe in LSU's offensive line to be some elite unit. So that's my next thing. And then defensively, we'll see. I don't believe they'll take a like they're gonna have more room to grow. They're gonna get better defensively, but to think they're gonna be some kind of world beating defense, I don't think they'll be that. So I'll leave that there. But and I'll say if LSU wants to have, they want to maximize their defense. They'll find a way to play. If LSU wants to maximize their defense, they're gonna find a way to play Mansour Delane, Ashton Stamps, and DJ Pickett all at the same time. Two on the outside, one in the slot. Those are your three corners. Figure out how the hell you're gonna play it. That's why I would tell Big Baker, at least for secondary wise. They got the Halsey kid. They got the kid on for God's name from NC State. See what they could do secondary wise. But I don't think there'll be some world beating defense. So LSU, hell no. And he had LSU beating Texas in the championship game. That's just ridiculous. Now over to the number two, Ohio State. Ohio State, they lose Will Howard, Julian Sand, who I don't think is all that, and I don't know if he'll ever be. I don't think he'll ever be all that. James Peoples and C.J. Lawson is nothing compared to Quinshon Judkins and Trayvon Henderson. Their offensive line: Josh Simmons, Seth McLaughlin from Alabama. They're losing a lot, man. Donovan Jackson was. He's played for. He played. He did stuff I never seen people do before at guard and tackle last year, and in the season, go from guard to tackle. Had a rough first start at left tackle, but then picked it up and ran away with it. They're losing a lot on offensive line. I don't think they'll be the same. They had this Ethan kid, a runner, left tackle, 78. He's big, massive, but that's about all he is. He ain't doing. You can be big and massive, you can't move. In this league, you ain't gonna be able to make it. Ain't sold. Their defense is gonna take a big step back. Jermaine Matthews, we'll see what he could do. David Igbenogson just holds people all the time, so he's more likely to commit a flag than he is probably to get a pass breakup. So I'm not too worried about David Igbenogson and who's on the opposite side of Caleb Downs. We'll see. Also, Caleb Downs, Sark, he's gonna have. We'll see what I want to see what happens. We'll see what like I said. That secondary, I really question. I already want to play Devin Sanchez as safety. We'll see. I think he's probably more of a corner, but we'll see. People talk about with Ramsey, like, well, Ramsey could have been a really good safety too. I don't know. We'll see. But that secondary, a lot left to be desired to me. Jordan, I think the Jordan kid, I forgot his name too. I remember him. I come out of high school, but yeah, I think he's gone too. And then no Cody Slot in the middle, really is a big, really a massive. I thought that kid was a junior. I was like, man, this kid comes back, he's gonna be a stud. He's gonna be a stud in the NFL. That kid's a stud. He looked a lot like a first round pick, and my like guy I already saw like an Ant Hill level guy, that level linebacker. He was a stud. Arthur Reese is good. We'll see if he can be the same level. We'll see about Sony Styles, but I just don't see the defense being the same. On top of the fact you lost probably the top two defensive mind in the game to Penn State. And Matt Patricia, I don't think Matt Patricia is going to have the defense all souped up running his scheme and what he wants to do, especially because they lost a lot of the guys that made them souped up. And then on the edges, Caden Curry and Kenny Jackson don't scare me nor concern me, and you can't even name me Ohio State's two starting D tackles. So they probably lost their best one at Texas. So that's my reason Ohio State. I'm not interested. Uh, Next, three Clemson. I like it. I'd probably might even have them higher at two, but that's what it'd be for me. That Clemson would be between will probably be two or three for me. Remember, it's straight seeding. That's what you're saying. So Texas at four. I'd have Texas at one. I think Arch Manning elevating Sark's offense. Last time Sark had a quarterback could throw a deep ball in his offense, he won a national championship, and the quarterback's name was Mac Jones. Sark didn't forget how to call plays. He just forgot what an elite quarterback looks like, and he should have benched Quinn Ewers last year. I think this year you're going to see Sark's offense open up, and it's going to be a real offense with a real deep ball, and that's going to really that's going to open up the offense to do whatever he wants, whatever he needs. So I think it's going to shock people. I think Texas will be on one seed. To think Texas will lose to Oregon is ridiculous. Oregon's defense gave up 30 points to Penn State, twice to Ohio State. They gave up 30 points at half, 30 plus points at half to Ohio State. They gave 30 points twice to Ohio State. The first meeting they gave up 30 like 31, 32 points. So that's twice they put Ohio State. They gave up 30 or more points, either in a half or in a full game, which is embarrassing. And they played Penn State. Drew Aller looked like a Heisman candidate and destroyed them. They destroyed Oregon's defense, or destroyed Oregon defensively in the Big 12 championship game. And then they played Boise State, and actually looked like the second coming of Barry Sanders, which he might actually be, but he's still like the second coming of Barry Sanders versus Oregon. And they knew that, and all Boise State, everybody knew Boise State was going to run the ball, and they still ran the ball. But like I said, look at the second coming of Barry Sanders versus Oregon. Oregon, every elite offense or team with a pulse that they played that had an offense, they got destroyed. Oregon even got torched last year. Boise State playoffs, actually Boise State offense had no problem versus Oregon's defense. Texas playoffs, Ohio State playoffs. So Ohio State whooped them twice. They had no problem with Oregon's defense. Penn State playoffs. Penn State whooped them. Draw like a Heisman candidate. Had no problem. Every team that made the college playoffs that Oregon played last year, pretty much torched Oregon's defense. Oregon's defense stinks. Yet you have them beating Sark and Arch, and this is what Sark's gonna have offensively. They couldn't stop Chip Kelly's offense, and they're gonna stop Steve Sarkisian's offense. Get the hell out of here, bro. That don't even make sense. Oregon's defense stinks. They talking about they're gonna beat Texas and all that. That don't even make sense. Oregon's not no fifth seed, and Dante Moore, their offense is gonna take a big step back. No losing Dante Moore, and we'll see what the offensive line looks like. Remember, offensive line was a big problem for them last year. So I'm still a lot to be left to desire on an offensive line, especially pass pressure wise. That was a big struggle for them last year. Like, what the hell's happening? Oregon's just not a very well coached team, and they're not all that. And their defense stinks. When they play elite teams, they're going to get destroyed. I mean, it's simple as that. Anybody's top 25 with a really good with a good offense probably will tear Oregon a new one defensively. So, and we'll see what Dante Moore can bring. We'll see. They like Kenyon Sadiq. We'll see if he can be the level of Terrence Ferguson. I don't. We'll see what they have a receiver. I said to Kenyon Moore, Evan Stewart. It doesn't really concern me. So Oregon being fifth, ridiculous to me. Next. Let's go. We're sixth. Penn State. I think Penn State would be maybe in that range. I'd have Texas 1, Clemson 2, Florida 3. I spoiled it. But I'd probably have Penn State in at 4. I think Penn State would be my 4 or 15. Probably my fourth team, seeding wise. We'll see. They may be number 1. We'll see. It really depends on the record, but they should be probably higher than 6. But I'll give them that one. Next, where is 7? 7 is A&M. A&M will not be in the college playoffs. I'm going to always bet money on it, but I didn't put my life on it. Monster Reeves is not that great of a thrower of football, and what I've learned, especially for Quinn Ewers, is it's rare. Once a player shows you who he is, by his sophomore year, you know who he is. Now he's going into a sophomore year. Last year was a true freshman year, if I'm wrong. So we'll know who he is by the end of the season. But I think we already know who the guy is. A lot of these guys, when they show you who they are, that's kind of who they are. That's why usually star guys stay star guys, and trashy or okay guys stay okay guys. Like, we got to find a role for them. Like, Monster Reeves is not a great thrower of football, and I think in the SEC in this league, you're not going to win like having a quarterback that everybody knows that he can't throw the football like that. Unless you have an elite run game, which I think Ian could have a good one, but I don't think it'd be anything elite, especially when teams can load the box and know that the quarterback can't beat them with his arm. I think you become it becomes really hard offensively. So, I don't think anyone will need playoffs. On top of the fact that, I mean, they lost Shamar Stewart, they lost Nick Scorton. We're really one of the difference makers in that season. When it came down to the wire, Shamar Stewart and Nick Scorton were nowhere to be found. Nick Scorton was scorching hot on the bench, and when he was playing, he stunk. Got shit on my Kevin Bates and Trevor Gooseby. Like, it's just, the dude was just not all that. They're overhyped for what? Let me one big Missouri when you think y'all that you ain't crap. So that just doesn't make sense to me. And that defense that secondary has a long way to go. And that defense has a long way to go, man. They got to show more pass rushing wise, especially late in the season. They got to show they can stop the run. Albert Regis is cool. David Hicks is cool, but those two guys to me aren't different than regular D tackle. Can you stop the run? I don't see A&M being in the playoffs. Like I said, and I said what I said. Next is 8 Georgia. I think Georgia. I already predicted them to go 5-7. I think it'll be somewhere around there. I think it might be a losing, about 6-6, maybe. I don't see Georgia having that great of a season. I don't think they'll be in the playoffs. Their offensive line stinks. Monroe and Ernest Green rotating in for each other. That's how bad they were. They couldn't block anything. Um, I like Michael Morris, but Michael Morris' son Drew Bow, I think, is the starting center. He ain't all that. Um, I like Daniel Calhoun, guard. We'll see. In high school, he's a tackle. We'll see what he can do. I like Nick Frazier. I like what they got, Josh McCray. We'll see what is going on. Tight end receiver leaves a lot to be desired. Gunnar Stockton leaves a lot to be desired. And Kirby didn't name a starting quarterback. Now, everybody assumes it's going to start, but he didn't name a starting quarterback. Defensively, I don't like what Jordan has in secondary, and I definitely don't like what they have on the edge at pass rusher. Now they'll be loaded at D tackle and interior and at linebacker, but on the edge and the secondary, that's where their weaknesses are. And they're going to play a lot of teams and a lot of offensive coordinators who they dominated last year because of lack of quarterback play, i.e., Tennessee, who didn't have a real quarterback, and now they do, and Texas, who didn't have a real quarterback, and now they do. So when you play elite offensive minds with real quarterbacks that can actually do what they want to do offensively and run what they want to run, they don't have to hold a call sheet back or change their whole offense completely or hinder it because of a quarterback's strengths and weaknesses. Then you're gonna get, then that becomes a problem. And when you struggle in the secondary with Sark and Josh Heupel can destroy your secondary, if you have those problems, they will find that matchup and make it a problem for you. That's the problem. And you're playing Tennessee in Knoxville as the first road game. We're gonna stop. It's gonna be hell. And then with Tennessee has a defensive line, again, that's just an example, but I don't see Georgia making the college football playoffs. They're not making it. Alabama, Kane Womack, his scheme stinks. He's not a great offensive. He's not a great defensive mind. He has great talent. We'll see if they can overcome his lack of coaching. When you get tore by Carson Becker in the second half, because they made Justin tore you up in the second half. That's a problem. By 30, pretty much dropped 30. I mean, he dropped 30 some points on you the whole game. Can't remember what he did in the second, how many points he scored in the second half, but besides the point, Carson Beck tore you apart. That's embarrassing. Carson Beck stunk last year, and he ripped you to shreds. Have a Carson Beck's whole highlight reel last year was just literally his clips versus Bama. It's embarrassing. And then Diego Pavia, the only way Vanderbilt beats Alabama is if Vanderbilt out schemes Alabama for quarters. That's exactly what they did on offense. You're not an elite defensive mind. I don't believe in you. I don't think Alabama makes the playoffs. And then the 10th, Baylor. Hell no. Baylor's not making the playoffs. I love Sawyer Owens. I don't love him, but so he's a good quarterback. Joshua Cameron, good receiver, good pieces. I think Baylor's probably a year away. Good building year, but I don't think they're making the playoffs over teams like Arizona State, K State. You got Iowa State. Man, you got Utah, and then you got to throw in a Texas Tech, who probably has the best, definitely has the best roster in the conference. So I don't think Baylor's a team to make it out of that. And then they still have to play teams like SMU. Like no, I think that'd be a loss right there. So I don't see Baylor winning the conference and being a team to come from the Big 12. But it'll be a good building year, probably a year away, but I don't see it this year. And then his 11th is Notre Dame. I think it's probably higher. I think CJ Carr is going to be the real deal. I think he's actually going to unlock their offense because what they didn't have last year was Ryland is a really good quarterback, but how good of a true quarterback is he? Like a true thrower of the football. I think CJ Carr is going to open up things with his arm and being a true pocket passing quarterback that Rylander couldn't. Now Rylander added things that CJ Carr won't be able to add because he's such a runner, physical runner, and that kind of stuff. But I think CJ Carr is going to open up things as a true quarterback, as a pocket passer that CJ Carr's going to open up things with true pocket passer. Rylander couldn't. It's going to open up the offense. On top of having Jordan Faison, Jaden Greathouse, Malachi Fields, and that kind of stuff. Now, I am concerned about Neil Wagner. Now, he did get done by Abdul Carter. That's my concern comes from, but we'll see. That was Abdul Carter, but he did look horrendous with Abdul Carter. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I do think that this offense will open up Malachi Fields, Jaden Greathouse, Jordan Faison. I mean, they're going to be Will Pauling. They're going to be loaded at receiver. Plus, a quarterback I think can open up the offense to a whole new level. Plus, I love Jordan Price and Aeneas Williams at running back. Could be one of the best offenses in the game. And you know, Northern's going to have a good enough offensive line. A really good not good enough. They're going to have a really good offensive line, and not elite offensive line. You know, it's Notre Dame. That's the one thing they're going to have. They're going to have that, and they're going to have a tight end they can rely on. I think it'll be Radon. I think his name is. He'll be reliable. Not sure if it'll be anything special like Mitchell Evans and some of these other guys that they've had in the past, Cole Kmet, but I think he'll be reliable. I think Notre Dame should definitely be higher. So yeah, that is my cool thing. And then LSU, my ending statement is this: to think LSU and Brian Kelly are going to win a national championship is just ridiculous. This is just complete clickbait. is based on no real fact, and this dude has no knowledge. The fact that y'all follow these people and they just give y'all clickbait. Over here, I'm giving y'all the real stuff. I would never come over on here and say something I don't believe in. These people on three are horrible. The only thing they're good for is recruiting predictions. Other than that, what's going on, man? Let me not say that, but this is what you have to understand. This is what media is. And this is the difference between me and the rest of the media. They're going to come out here and tell you some crap they don't believe because somebody says it, say this. Oh, hey, say this for ratings. We don't do ratings over here. We don't get ratings because we honest and ain't because I don't come out here and say something I don't believe. If I believe something, I'm going to say it. I'm going to go against the grain because I believe that's how I feel. And I'm always going to have a reasoning why. The second I don't have a reason for something I believe, the second I'm not going to say that what I have to say. But to come out here and say LSU's going to win a national championship, and there's all these teams, it's just clickbait. Georgia, Bama, it's all clickbait. There's no reasoning behind it. It's just him saying it. Oh, this and that. There's no reasoning behind what he's saying. It's ridiculous. And this is what you have to get away from and come over here. Because these people like this that are motivated by ESPN and On3 and all these companies that just look for money and they look for clicks and ratings, that's why they put all these big teams in there. Instead of saying, hey, Florida and South Carolina, who I will definitely be in my college football playoffs, and all these teams, Auburn, teams that because they're not sexy and because they don't have all the preseason hype, they're not going to put them in these. They're not putting them in these. This is what this has becomes ridiculous. This is not even authentic. We're going to look back at this and laugh at the end of the season. And I'm going to be right here just like I was at the beginning of the season on July 30th or July 30th. Laughing now, I'll be showing y'all we'll be laughing then too because this is going to be completely wrong. And so it's just ridiculous. This is just clickbait trash. And it's sad that this was become to because I will never become like this. It's a fact because he's a sellout. He's a fleet sellout. That he will go on there and say stuff that's not that just for ratings because he wants to get paid more instead of being right. Somebody said, imagine if JD McKell's job depended on how accurate he was with call. I really think that his contract should be dependent on how accurate you are with your predictions because if it was, he might be out of a job after the season. Watch after the season. A lot of people are gonna be wrong, man, because I'm telling you, this is the year. A lot of these teams that you don't expect, South Carolina, Florida, Auburn, all these teams that are coming up, right? Utah, all these teams that you're seeing, Penn State, Notre Dame, I'm trying to think of, and Indiana. The team that you don't expect to be in here are the ones that are going to be in there, and then these people like him are going to look stupid, and that's what's going to be the problem. And they're going to wonder why. Oh man, blah blah blah. It's a whole bunch of malarkey. These dudes are done talking no real stuff. You need to stop listening to the guy. Stop listening to him. He ain't know what he's talking about. If anybody else win that championship, they definitely don't know what they're talking about. If you think Brian Kelly's going to knock off everybody to win that championship, it ain't happening. This is the same coach that announced when we played Nick Saban in Alabama, we were scared. His players came out and said, we were scared. His team was not ready to play Nick Saban in Alabama. He came out and announced, when we got to the Natty at Notre Dame with Brian Kelly and they played Alabama, we were scared to play Alabama. We knew we couldn't beat them. That's not a coach I'm betting on and putting my career on the line and putting my name on the line to win that championship. And it's more than that. Ryan Day did it, and I said the same thing last year. I wouldn't bet on. Now that was just for different reasons. I love to have the discussion if someone's have it, but that's just ridiculous. When your players come out after, oh, we were scared, so that's what it was. You're not on that championship coach. He showed he's not a big game coach. He's just not a big. He just doesn't win big games, and that's what he will forever be known for. That's why when he left and Marcus Freeman took over, you think Notre Dame fans are missing Brian Kelly? You don't think they're happy? Let me tell you something. This says a lot about you as a coach. When you leave your previous place of business and the business improves, that goes for everybody. If you own a business and you leave the business and hand it over to somebody else, or somebody else gets the job after you leave, and the business gets better, what does that say about you? And I think that's the best way to describe Brian Kelly and Notre Dame. That's why he's never going to win that championship. Only Brian Kelly wins that championship if people start dying and passing away. And people like Caesar Keith, like coaches, people have to die for Brian Kelly to win that championship. Other than that, as long as people are alive and that kind of stuff and players are alive, it ain't happening. In another reality, maybe he won 7, but it ain't happening. It is not happening. He's not winning that championship. It's ridiculous. But, y'all follow these people, and these people are just misleading y'all, man. They're not being honest about their predictions. They just come around here saying stuff to get y'all to click on it. It's ridiculous.